Hi, I'm Drew Fuller and I am on FrConventions. They're going to kill you very quickly. I thought when I got on the show that I was going to be on the show like forever, and I had never seen it before. And so I thought, I was like, oh, they're adding a new male character and I'm going to be the white lighter, the charge, like kind of, or not the charge, but the person kind of looking after the girls. I'm like, oh, like I got a job that's going to give me work for years to come. And then turns out within like a season and some episodes, like my character was killed. And I was like, I was so devastated because I had at the time thought I had done something wrong. But really, like throughout the history of the show, with the exception of like, let's say Brian and Dorian, every single male character is either like killed off or has to leave. So I didn't know that at the time, but I would definitely, now that I know that, I would just like tell myself like, don't worry, it has nothing to do with you. It's just what they do to the guys. I think it really wasn't until we started doing these cons, specifically like conventions around the world, coming to different cities, meeting people, and seeing, like, that's what's so amazing about doing conventions. It's like, it really is an opportunity for fans to express how much the show meant to them, and then also, like, we wouldn't be here or exist as actors if we didn't have the fans. So it's like this symbiotic relationship that's really important, and I think once you get out there and into the world and kind of away from your circle, you can see how much of an impact it had. And then, you know, you hear these stories over and over and you realize like, oh wow. And it's not just in one city, it's not just Paris, it's not like, it's everywhere. And to be a part of something like that it's really humbling and incredible. Yeah, I think it's all the things that we've heard before, right? It's family, like family, love, triumphs, overall, good over evil, you know, coming together, working together. Like these are just universal themes that I think everyone can relate to, like how important, like you can lean on your family and like how, like over any sort of, let's say, obstacle. And, you know, you hear this thing where Charmed, like maybe someone didn't have a good upbringing. Maybe something was, you know, a difficult childhood, then they're like, oh, well, I found my family, I found my coven, my tribe watching this show, and then they reach out to other people online throughout the world, and then that's where they, like, you know what I mean? Like, they find their family through the show, which is actually really beautiful. I think I truly believe it's because of the conventions. It puts us in situations, in places where it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in like forever. I haven't seen you in years. And you kind of pick up right where you left off and like, this is amazing. Like we're here and, you know, it's a celebration. So there's no issues, there's no drama. It's just like, we're here, this is fun, this is great. Like, let's all enjoy each other's company and have a good time. Well, for me, like the idea is like everyone keeps asking for a reboot, right? Everyone wants a proper reboot with the original cast. And I have been around the original cast long enough and I just like, you know, there's just, you know, there's so many reasons why that hasn't happened yet. I keep telling everyone never say never because you know what, like there is a world in which we could make it happen in the future or at least a continuation, a spin-off. But I was like, people really want more material from us. And if we're not going to get a reboot right now, for whatever the multitude of reasons, let's go behind the scenes and give them something that maybe a story that they've never heard or a process or what they were thinking during a scene. And so like the idea of the podcast was really just to give the fans more content and insights like that they'd never heard before because so many of the people out here know the show way better than we do. They've seen the episodes 15, 20, 30 times. Like, I've never seen the show. I just started watching it for the pod. And I know Holly's probably seen it once, maybe twice. So it's like they educate us a lot of times about what the demon is or what actually was happening, or did you guys not notice this? And it's like, but because they get to watch it and they relive it so much. But so the idea really was ultimately like, well, what don't they know? What is behind the scenes? And so that's kind of where the podcast went. And like, it's a good way to just kind of keep the magic alive and keep it going. I would have probably lasted 2 episodes. And I wouldn't be here today. Yeah, and I think like, you know, a lot of times when someone gets cast on something and they don't really know what to do yet, they kind of, you sit back and you watch kind of like who has chemistry. Oh, those two play really well together in a scene, or them standing next to each other, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't work. And so, you know, thank God I came in when I did, because there was no plan initially. It was kind of like, let's just see what happens and who he connects with. Like maybe he's a love interest for Paige, you know, and then I believe the timeline was Holly was pregnant in real life, and then like, oh, perfect, like here's her second son, it's cast from the future, and then we can build a story arc from that. They're now my children. It's true. It's true. You can ask them. Have you interviewed them yet?
Not yet.
Oh yeah. You bring that up and go, like, Drew started as your son, now he says you're his child.
Who's his children?
You and Holly.
We're his children? He is. He's kind of the grandpa of the group. They call me Gramps, but he's probably the responsible one. I mean, Holly's the most responsible, but if anybody acts like an old parent, it's probably true.
I understand why it's so successful. I understand why people love it so much. I understand because I love it. Like, I'm watching the show and I'm invested in the characters. I'm invested in, you know, like right now I'm really hot on Cole. I love me some Cole, and I love Phoebe and Cole. I'm like, you know, I get it, because I still love movies and acting and TV shows, and so I can get really swept and carried away by a series, and like fortunately right now it is Charmed, and so it's a lot of fun. Well, at the time, no, you know, I'm just kind of like head down doing my work. In hindsight, I'm like, well, it kind of makes sense, you know. I always joke that there's a thing that I sign when we do autographs where Charmed is forever because Chris saved the future. And so like none of these people would actually exist if I hadn't come back and prevented Evil Wyatt from ruining everyone's life. So that's like just a fun, silly joke that we all have. But yeah, I had no idea that it was going to have the impact that it did, but I'm grateful it did, because again, I get to be here today. Well, the idea that Leo was never there for Chris, so having to kind of conjure this emotion of a lot of resentment, a lot of anger and frustration, and how it plays out, like kind of just being kind of a bratty, snotty kid, or a young adult, without revealing, you know, like, you're actually my dad and you were never there, and like I've had to do everything on my own, and now like you're trying to be like this stand-up guy, and I'm not buying it, because my experience up to this point, the dad I knew is not the dad that's in the present that I'm dealing with right now. So yeah, it was. I don't think that's hard to play. I think it's really easy to kind of come up with something like an emotion like that of just resentment, frustration, anger. The show should be called, I mean, it should be House of Halliwell, and it's a continuation. It's like, you know, let's say Piper and Leo it's still, they're the anchor, the centerpiece, but then it kind of has that supernatural element where Wes's character and my character, like we've caught up to, like this year we've caught up to when we were sent back. if that makes sense, or where my character was sent back to the future. So it would basically pick up then, and we have, like, we're kind of doing that supernatural thing, like two brothers going off and fighting demons, you know, and maybe dealing with our prospective wives or kids, or, you know, but where it's anchored is through the Piper and Leo character. And then you could have like a Phoebe drop in or a Paige drop in if they wanted to, something like that. But overall, like, it would be more centered on our specific family unit. And I think we have, in the finale of the show, Holly and Brian's characters there's a daughter, there's a third. So it's not a technical power of three, but maybe the three of us are kind of out there. It's honestly very, very humbling. It's very cool. Like, when you walk out on stage and you see everyone there and they're all like yelling and clapping and just so much love and gratitude for all of us being here. Like, everyone keeps coming up and saying, "Thank you so much for being here." Like, are you kidding me? Thank you for being here. Like, I wouldn't be here if wasn't you asking for us to be here. So, I always keep that in the front of my mind.